Welcome back. The House unanimously voted against adding a provision to the government funding bill, which would have allowed Republican senators to sue the federal government if their phone records were seized by former special counsel Jack Smith. The Senate added it as part of the bill to end the 43-day government shutdown, which President Trump, of course, signed into law last week. Joining me now is Florida Senator Rick Scott. Senator, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. You were among the Republicans targeted by Joe Biden's DOJ. Now, you may not have been one of the initial 8, but you joined colleagues in asking AG Pam Bondi to unseal the grand jury records from the DOJ's Arctic frost probe. First, what happened to you, and how do you feel about now the House voting down this provision, which would have allowed senators to sue?
Well, Maria, this is the third time for me. Back when I built my hospital company, when I went against Hillary and Hillary Care, they had my company investigated. And then during the Biden administration, They released my tax returns to ProPublica, never went after ProPublica. And now Jack Smith went after my phone records, my text, my voicemail. So I mean, this is pretty frustrating. The government's got to be held accountable. Now, I don't need to make any money off government. I give away my salary now. But somebody's got to be held accountable for what they're doing. This is weaponization. This is the third time for me. And there's no accountability. So, look, I'm going to follow whatever the House wants to do. If they don't like this provision, that's fine with me. But we've got to add accountability to this.
I could not agree more, Senator. I mean, the way that the American people have been lied to for 10 years and counting in terms of the conspiracy and the attacks against President Trump, to spying on anybody who doesn't agree with them is just outrageous. The way the Wall Street Journal wrote it this morning, though, I want you to walk us through what we're talking about here, because here's the headline on the Journal. Outraged House lawmakers vote to strike $500,000 payouts for senators. They say that the House voted Wednesday night to repeal this Senate-crafted provision that could grant GOP senators at least $500,000 each in taxpayer-funded damages. How do we know it's $500,000?
Well, I mean, first off, the provision was put in there. Unfortunately, most of us didn't know that it was in there, and most of us are, like, I don't need to make money off of government at all. What's frustrating to me is what we should have is, how do we do something to hold Jack Smith accountable, Judge Boasberg accountable, the people that made these decisions? If Christopher Wray was involved and Merrick Garland, how are they going to get held accountable? That's what I'm after. So hopefully we'll be able to find out how to do that, and we need to expand it. We need to, look, President Trump, all the weaponization against President Trump. But if you talk to business people, if you talk to elected, there's been so much weaponization under Clinton, under Obama, under Biden. This has got to stop.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's weaponization, but it's also this rhetoric that has just been lies to the American people. I agree. There needs to be some accountability, because it just keeps happening again. Russia collusion. I mean, that lie went viral across the world, and it ripped the country apart. It was followed up by, lies about Hunter Biden's laptop. It was followed up by, a raid on President Trump's home. It was followed up by 90-plus indictments against President Trump. It was followed up again and again and again. When is this going to stop?
Until it will not stop until individuals that make these decisions are held accountable. I mean, you don't, like, no one gets held accountable. I mean, nobody in the executive branch that's been doing this, all right, gets held accountable. So until that changes, why wouldn't they keep doing it? They want to destroy Republicans. They want to destroy the Republican Party. They will do anything they can. The Democrats will do anything they can for power. Power, power, power. So until these individuals are held accountable, nothing's going to change.
Yeah, well, we're going to be watching for accountability. Do you have any solutions, Senator? How are you going to hold them accountable?
Well, what we've got to do is we've got to go back and make sure we have laws in place that the people like Jack Smith can go to jail, lose their license, have individual accountability for these decisions. Yeah. I mean, why aren't they held accountable? I don't need any money out of the federal government. But by the way, look at the damage. They tried to make sure they won the presidency against Donald Trump by raiding his house. Went to his wife's bedroom or closet. I mean, this is ridiculous.
It is. Most people, if you look at this practically, would agree with you. All right, I want to move on to China because, Senator, you recently introduced legislation which closes loopholes which have been exploited by the CCP and its CCP-linked companies. This is the CLEAR Act and the National Defense Supply Chain Integrity Act. Both aim to strengthen American scrutiny of Chinese companies operating in the United States. Tell us more about this.
Well, first off, the government of China wants to destroy your way of life. That's their goal. They want to destroy this country. They're doing everything they can, whether it's in a fit into our country, stealing our technology, spying on us, all these things. When we find a Chinese company and we put them on any government list that says they cannot do business, they should apply to all the lists, especially with regard to selling to our military. We should never buy any. None of us should ever buy anything from China. I've got another bill about don't buy Chinese generic drugs. They're bad for you. And why are we helping their economy? So we got to take China seriously. What this one says is that we're going to look at all of the different lists where we've kicked Chinese companies off those lists, and they will not do business with our military. Period.
Yeah.
And they cannot appeal it either.
Yeah, I mean, the president has that lever to pull. I mean, when we see the CCP push back and try to double-cross the U.S. by not sending the rare earth to any company, tied to the military, which is what the Wall Street Journal is reporting, and Scott Besson said it's not true to me. We're watching that story. I mean, he's got to have more levers to push back. But the president has been speaking to U.S. Saudi officials, of course, at the U.S. Saudi Investment Forum at the Kennedy Center yesterday. I was the co-MC, and he vowed to secure peace in Sudan at the request of the Saudi Crown Prince. But he also allowed NVIDIA to sell chips and AMD to sell chips to Saudi. Do you worry that the Saudis and the sale of those chips going to the Middle East will get in the hands of China?
Well, I know President Trump wants, first off, he wants peace. The other thing is he wants to continue to build our relationships and Israel's relationship with Saudi Arabia and other countries in the Middle East. So I think we've got to do the right thing here. But I think President Trump will be cautious and make sure the right thing happens.
Yeah. All right, Senator. We're going to be watching your work. Great to talk with you this morning, sir. Thank you.
Have a good day, Maria.
And to you, Florida Senator Rick Scott. Stay with us. We'll be right back.